Hi. I'm so excited. You're back for a third time, Julie, with
I know.
repeat. I'm so excited.
I know. I feel so special. Thanks for having me back. I love
Oh
it.
my
I always
God.
have so much fun with you.
Oh my God. Well, since our last podcast episodes, I came to see you in Rhode Island and we had the most fun. Oh my God, we had the most fun. I think for the episode, for like maybe the cover art or the episode, I'm going to put one of the pictures of us having a good old time. So much
Oh,
fun. We had a blast. So we're here to talk about Backrooms. And I watched this movie for the first time in theaters and I was just like gobsmacked. Like I just remember I was like sitting there the whole time just oh my God. But then like the second time I watched this was with you and stoned down in my gourd.
we had so much fun watching this. I have
Yes.
very strict rules when watching movies. I love going to movies by myself. I love watching movies by myself. I live by myself. So, but for years and years, my friends have known you don't talk when you're watching the movie with Julie because she will yell. She has rules. She'll yell at you. I mean, with lots of love, but because you miss things and you don't get in the flow. And it's one thing to like have a question every once in a while, but I've had very many experiences where people are just commenting throughout the whole thing, or if they've seen it before, they're like, "Oh, pay attention to this part," and I'm like, "No, no, no." And also, I should share, Jamie, probably more than anybody, because you're my most movie friend, but I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to know anything. I want the least you know going into a movie, the better. Sometimes even the previews show too much. And so I know that's hard for you, and I just thank you for your patience with me and my movie watching. My analness when it comes to life.
Well,
And
that's not how it
so
turned out anyway.
I know. So I was like, all right, Jamie, we're not in person a lot. We're doing this. You saw it. These are the rules. No talking. We have to pause it if you want to say anything, whatever. I think I probably peed my pants or came close. Like, we just laughed. We had a blast. It was so much fun. And it
Oh
was
my
really
God.
fun watching this movie, big. But then it was really fun going. I went back after you left, I went back and rewatched it. And, it was really fun to have that one perspective of it. And I also wanted to share, this is kombucha. This is my lemon ginger kombucha. I'm not day drinking here.
Be okay if
So,
you were having a drink on a Saturday morning. This is for on a Saturday morning, people. I'm just giggling thinking back because it's so funny because this movie is such a mind fuck. And there's like one point you stop the movie and you were like, Jamie, I'm having this experience of the movie and it's blowing my mind. And like, I don't know if it's because like
oh, hmm
you're like, is
I
it
thought
because
I
I'm
was
high or
I was like, okay, I'm feeling a certain way about what this is all about and like what's coming up for me around it and what I think that the whole like metaphor is and all this stuff. I'm like, am I just really gonna like just like gonna watch it tomorrow and be like, this movie is just a bunch of back rooms. So validating, so validating because you're like that makes sense. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm on track.
I didn't want to like give anything away, but yes.
Okay. I thought, I
It's
was like, am I making this up
totally
in my mind?
no. Oh, so good. I'm also kind of a little bit distracted by this like glitchy thing going on with his background.
Looks like there's a shadow behind you, which actually goes really good with the theme. Little shadow that moves with you. You see
I
that?
know.
I like
I do. I
that.
see it.
I like it.
I keep seeing it in my peripheral. I don't know how to turn it off anyway,
You
so I
know
guess
what
it's got to
though?
stay.
It goes. It goes with the theme of horror movies. It reminds me of Ghost, the ghost in the movie Ghost.
I love those
Yeah,
ghosts.
they're good. Like the entity.
Yes.
Got
The
you.
entities that come to drag that fucker away in the movie
Hmm.
Ghost. Oh,
Yeah,
you would like that. You ghost loving, ghost
I
story
know. I
loving.
love me a ghost. I love a ghost.
Yes. Oh, you're super fresh on this, and like I'm definitely not. Um,
One of the things I struggled with about it is how when we were just talking about when I was like, am I high? It's like delving into one's shadow, into one's psyche and into like your own mental. I have a client who's like, he messed with my mentals. I love it so much. But
Nice.
and then there's a whole other like tangible, like material world aspect of it, where the back rooms have something to do with that. What is it, the async company and all this stuff. So there's that aspect of it over here, but then there's the different characters over here. So there's
Yeah.
so many different ways to approach it. But yeah.
Yes. Think of it as like a real place from that corporation and like the technology that created it and whatnot. And then there's thinking of it as like a metaphor.
Or just like another dimension or another like
Oh,
when you
yeah.
said before we even watched it, you're like, this is about liminal spaces. Like it's a liminal space slash dimension over here, which is like more metaphysical or whatever. And then over here there's the material world we're living in now with that async company. And how do they come together? Do they come
Yeah.
together? Right? And as we
Totally.
talk about each character, how does each character fit into one or the other or both?
Interact with all those different aspects of it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. The metaphor and then the real space. Oh, yeah. And all the characters' interactions with it.
And then you add the whole background of how this movie came to be, and that's a whole other
Girl.
dimension.
I was a little bit torn about how much I wanted to get into like the background of this. We talked about a little bit. Our friend Shaylee, hi Shaylee, talked about growing up in she's a millennial. No, she's Gen Z millennial. She's like 20. Yeah. She's of age where creepypastas were like a big deal in high school. So she gave us like a really cool explanation about like why the back rooms was such a big deal. And so I was kind of debating about how much to get into it, but I think maybe I'll just take like 30 seconds and then you can add to it, Julie. Even as we're talking about like how complex this movie is, I'm like, this movie was directed by a 20-year-old. It is unreal. This movie has so much depth and complexity. It was directed by a 20-year-old. Yeah, the lore, it goes back to internet lore back to like 2019, and yeah, that's basically the super big summary of it.
In a nutshell. In a nutshell.
Yeah.
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 The fact that it was directed by a 20-year-old blows my mind. It just makes me realize that sometimes I can be very ageist, and I can get into my Gen X like, wow. It's a good reminder, like, oh, get over it. Like you were a kid today once, and you had a lot going on, and you had a lot of interesting things to say, creative thoughts. It was a good reminder for me.
That's so true, because even as I said that out loud right now, I was like, this kid is 20 years old. And sure, that is very young. It's a baby, but also you can create at any age. And so it's a good reminder. If y'all want to know more about the Backrooms lore, there's plenty of YouTube videos you can go and like listen to the summaries, or there are much better podcasts that are going to be able to give you backgrounds. But that's not our jam here. Our jam here is to get into the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay. Let's do Mark or Clark? Mark or Clark? Clark.
I think it's Clark.
Okay.
The name of his furniture shop was like...
Oh, yeah. Quick furniture shop. Yeah. Let's start with the therapist.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we got Clark is the main character who owns the furniture store. And then we've got Mary, who is the therapist. Those are kind of the two, I guess you can say, like co-main characters.
Yeah.
So first of all, in case y'all are just listening to this podcast for the first time, Julie and I are both mental health counselors. Speaking for both of us here. Seeing this movie through the lens of mental health counselors was for me, it was pretty mind-blowing. And even watching this movie with Julie, she was noticing things that I didn't even notice. And so it was so cool to watch this with her. And then this therapist, Mary, has her own set of childhood trauma, which in a way I could relate to. So this character of Mary is like so nuanced. So I think do we first meet Mary? Oh, she's watching what I guess we later find out is her childhood home being torn down. And she's seeing the handprints with her mom, her and her mom. And then we find out, we realize later that she's basically kept these handprints from the concrete, I guess, as like an object that she's like emotionally holding on to, but physically holding on to as well. But then later we see her giving therapy to Clark. what would you call her approach, Julie? What was you?
Approach.
Yeah, like she was doing this almost. Was it like psychodrama? I was trying to figure out like what she was doing exactly, like a
When she was
psychodrama.
doing the role playing, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, like a role play. Yeah, role play. That's the word. Have you ever done that with anybody?
I
Yeah.
think that grad school Julie is like, I just remember them saying when we were studying that in school, I remember they were like, you have to be really trained in this. So I was like, ah. The rule follower in me is like, if I try that without, which I'm sure I probably won't, depending on the person, but I have tried to do like, I have offered up role plays very vaguely. And every time I have the client, which is probably like twice, the client's like, ah! Like they reacted the same way Clark did in the session. Do we
Interesting.
really have to do that? Because it's intimidating for people, unless you're like a thespian in the world of, theater or acting or whatever. That's the reaction I've gotten. Have you ever tried it before?
No, but now that you mentioned that, I actually do like as part of emotionally focused therapy with couples, we do this thing called enactments, where you basically stage interactions between the partners. Where you have like turn to your partner and
Um,
tell them that that you put up walls because you're afraid of escalating things. So basically, it's a way of like communicating deepest fears or attachment longings. Practice direct communication also, but at first, everyone always thinks it's super weird. They're like, "Oh, that's weird." But I guess in a way, now that you're saying that out loud, that is kind of similar. It's weird because it is. I am kind of asking them at first to act until it becomes natural. Essentially, that's the whole
yeah.
idea.
What was
But
interesting about that scene for me was I wrote it down too. I wrote down first scene role play. I was wondering, and this is me. This could totally be me. This is my stuff coming through. That's what art is, right? Is like, oh, we all see different things in movies and hear different things in songs and stuff. But my first reaction to her in that role play was like, "Ooh, she's really into this." And then I wrote down like, "Is this her true belief about this client coming through the role play?" For a review for everybody to know what we're talking about, Clark got kicked out of his house. His wife kicked him out. He's playing his wife, and she's like, You're never home. You're always drunk. You're always," and she very quickly went into, it felt so real, her reactions in that role play. And I was wondering,
yeah,
is that what she's really thinking about him? Or
yeah,
is that just her being really good at role playing? And
yeah,
because you see different sides of her throughout the whole movie. You see the professional side. You see the side where I don't know if you remember this, but it's all kind of in the beginning where she's at this social function, some sort of gathering at, I don't know if it's her house or somebody else's house. You see her smiling, but you also see what's underneath all that with her trauma, with her mother, with her background, with like, you see her sitting in her pajamas watching her own other persona on TV. So there's these two sides to her. And when she was doing the role play, I was like, which side is on? Is it
interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know me well enough too, Julie,
part
and
of
I've
that? Yeah.
parts time. Yeah, parts work time. I have something I call my therapist part where I'm like sort of acting like a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
there's like the part of me that's like the damaged little inner child,
Yeah.
and I got a newly found part thanks to Julie called Sock Puppet that's like really sassy and like says what I fucking mean, what I really fucking mean, without masking at all. It's so fascinating because yeah, like if you kind of again if I put my own projection of that onto her, like what you're saying, it's almost like that was her therapist part doing her job in that moment with Clark. Then we see that kind of wounded part of her, the traumatized part at the party, who's like looking at the mom and the child longingly, maybe sadly. She has to step out and take some, I don't know, I guess I'm assuming some kind of pill, and then, I mean, I know I'm skipping, but like, and then in the back rooms with Clark, we'll talk more about this, I assume. She really fucking gives it to him. She's like, actually, it's not your drinking and it's not your
Yeah.
staying out. You're just a fucking whiny ass baby.
She took the mask off
Yes.
hardcore, right?
That, mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
this adds to the whole idea. You mentioned her taking that pill. Another thing that I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about was her therapist part put together this whole training, this whole self-help training about opening the window and peeking behind the window. Meanwhile, the other part of her is popping a Xanax or whatever because it's really to go into what I'm gonna metaphorically call the back rooms of her own back room. It's just like, no, this is too hard. Same, and with Clark, he's got a drinking problem because he's always got his little bot. He's talking about his wife thinking he's drunk all the time, and then when you see him lying in bed in his store, he's drinking. Like every time you see him at the beginning, he's drinking. So it's like medicating and just this existential question based on the movie about the back rooms being like our shadow side, accessing our shadow, like Clark the pirate or whatever, um, and medicating because it's too scary to go back there. And are we
Mm-hmm.
over medicating in our culture now? But that's just another theme that popped up in my head was like, he's popping pills, he's always drunk, he's there, but then there's this whole liminal space of the back room, which is people's shadow. So if you believe that, I don't have any answers to this. I'm posing questions.
Oh, but that's so good. Oh, Julie, I love this so much.
Oh,
I'm getting excited. So my Aunt Sue part is like, yeah, this is why we're doing this podcast. I love you, Julie. Yeah, because I didn't even think about that. Because you're bringing all this great stuff to the table.
oh,
It's almost like in the back
thanks.
rooms, you can't do that, you know? Like you have to face whatever's in there. But yeah, you introduced this really amazing book to me that I read earlier this year called Dopamine Nation.
Oh.
And it's basically, and look, don't get me wrong, I'm on two different kind of psychotropic medications, and trust me, and
I am too. I
yeah,
am on
yeah,
one also.
yeah. And so I know that I will speak for both of us to say we're not
Hmm.
knocking medication because
Yeah.
I fully believe that we are biological creatures, and sometimes we need it. It's fine. Yes, and if you don't face your shit, it's going to keep popping up. So it's an interesting conundrum that this therapist Mary is stuck in her own back rooms of peeking out the window, all the while she's telling everybody else to just open the window. The window's not locked. But the
Hmm.
irony is because we're seeing her stuck in this house with the windows covered,
Hmm.
terrified little girl, and it's like, what's that about, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like she's taking the medication, she's creating this other persona to not face that. Ooh, man, that's rough.
But aren't we all doing that? Really?
Yes. That's the
Right?
thing about this movie, Julie, is like I was just sitting there just feeling the mirror hard with this movie. Like, I was like, oh man, wow.
Oh, rabbit hole. Okay.
So many rabbit
So
holes.
one thing I did want to mention too before we get much farther down is just the opening when the first scene when, and I know if we go scene by scene, it's going to be like a 5 hour, like 5 hour podcast, so we don't want that. But when she starts narrating, which is really her, we find out it's her in session with Clark, talking to Clark. But at first, we don't know that when the when they first show her standing by her car, looking at the house as it's being knocked down. At first words, besides what happens in 1990 with the instinct company and the guy, and he's getting faced and whatever. But the first dialogue after that first scene, he says, "We all have our loops, our habits, behaviors that keep us walking in circles, neural pathways of least resistance." And I feel like that is such a good way to set the tone for the movie. And I think keeping and coming back to that very first part of that very first dialogue, the very first thing said in the movie, other than the guy being chased around and then his camera dropping. We can carry that through the whole thing, and I feel like it explains it all in the very first. What are our neural pathways? These are the neural pathways. Are the backrooms the neural pathways that we are not used to, and this is us forming new neural pathways? And then you get into, well, how does it all end? What does that mean if it's true?
Yeah.
You know? So I just
Uh,
wanted to bring that up because I thought that quote really kind of was like so important to the movie somehow. But
well, it really is. I remember my feeling when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, I've given that speech to so many clients because when we learned trauma therapy, we learned it from a polyvagal theory, which is a nervous system point of view about trauma. So basically what Mary is saying is kind of like a twofold thing, is like a nervous system. And this is more for like the audience, because I know you know this, Jules. If you think about your brains, your neurons are firing a certain way, like it's going to fire the way that it's continuously learned how to do. And because it's natural, it's like a biological thing. And so, but to make it do something different, it's hard. You got to train it to do that. And so that's what she means by like, you're like training a new neural pathway.
neural
But then there's
pathways
this
of
other
least.
least
Yeah, and
resistance.
it's my understanding that those neural pathways that are used to being fired literally make grooves in your brain. So they're little
Yes.
roads. It's like when you're driving on a dirt road and your tires are in the grooves from previous drives. Sometimes trying to get out of those takes a little more effort, right? So same thing with the neural pathways. It's like it takes a lot of effort to change our habits. Make changes in our lives is huge, but then you get used to them.
But then there's this other aspect that she was talking about, the trauma, that's more of, I think, like a psychodynamic aspect of it, of like trying to close the loop. For example, with Mary, to be literal, her loop is she's trying to get out of the window. And if she could not get out of that window as a child, well, then she's going to keep trying to get out of that window as an adult. So that's one definition of trauma, is basically just continuously trying to close that loop from childhood, whatever way you can. And so Mary has done it, has attempted to do it by, I guess, at this point, becoming a therapist, coming up with this self-help thing for people, but it's not working because she hasn't actually opened the window of her own. Well, and I'm speaking, I realize I'm also speaking in absolute terms here, but like this is what we're seeing from the movie. So yeah, I love that you brought that up because I thought it was profound and really smart, like that, to like set the stage for the movie like that.
Yeah, kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
The other thing,
I'm sorry about the quote. Not me.
girl both, own that shit.
Anyway, go.
Yeah, and I'm just like, even back to that therapy session with Clark, there's this part of it too that you noticed that I thought was really profound. She's like, "Oh, we've got a couple minutes left in session. Let's do this.
I
Let's
forgot
do
about
this
that.
psychodrama role play." Julie, you pointed that out when we watched the movie. You were like, "Why would you do that when you have a couple minutes left in session?"
That's when the dummy started taking it. I'm like, what is that? You got to do the wind down.
Yeah, you got to start winding down when you got a couple minutes left in session. You can't open up no wounds.
Let's get everybody all this regulated and then just kick them out the door.
Seriously, exactly. But one thing that we work on together, Julie, is that sometimes you're not going to get people regulated before you send them out the door, and that's got to be okay.
That's another rabbit hole to go down.
That's another rabbit hole. But, like, but also maybe not do it intentionally. maybe be smart about it.
Exactly. And you can't. I mean, people are going to get. That's part of the. Not to overuse this whole term journey, but that's the part of the journey when you go to therapy is you're going to be dysregulated at some point.
Yes.
And he clearly got dysregulated in that scene. And she was like, that's why we're doing what we're doing. It's interesting the way she went from like really into character to like, and see, that's why we do it. But he got really into it and he was getting in touch with that, his own sock puppet, right? He was like getting pissed. And I think that I got the impression that he holds that stuff in like many men do, which reminds me of your previous podcast, which I thought was really interesting about, you're talking about men
Well, like not allowing men to have their feelings, I suppose, is maybe what you're connecting
But
the
what
dots
was the
there. Like,
movie that you were talking
oh,
about?
Midsummer,
Oh, that's
Midsummer.
right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that for men, validly, men getting angry has historically perpetuated a lot of violence on people. That's true. And yet, anger is a valid emotion, you know? And so
Mhm.
for him to be able to express his anger and frustration um, in a safe space, it's a good start for him to be able
Mhm.
to have an outlet for that. So I think that's what Mary was getting at whenever she was great. This is a good start.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're able to
No,
vent
get
that
out.
out.
This is a good stuff. Get out. 3 hours up.
Yeah, bye. Get out of here. I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I don't know which came first, chicken or the egg, if I thought this later, if I thought this in the moment, but somewhere this thought entered into my mind that he's not ready to change yet. They're doing this role play and he's still blaming her. Like he's still completely like not owning what he did. You know, he's basically like, this is my house.
Mhm.
I'm supporting you. Like, what happens if we have kids? You're sitting on your fat, lazy ass, whatever he said. He said some mean stuff.
Yeah.
From being a couples therapist, there's something I'm always looking out for. Is this idea of, are you speaking from your view of self or the view of other? And so it's a difference in saying, you're doing this to me, or this is how I'm showing up to the relationship. And
Mhm.
basically until someone's willing to shift their language into you're doing this to me to this is how I'm showing up, people aren't willing to change. That's like a signal if like someone's ready to change or not, essentially.
Mhm.
Is that they're just ready to start taking ownership. And so there was
Mhm.
something about the way he was speaking of this is my house, you're doing this to me stuff. Like I was like, oh, he's not ready to change. So he's not there yet.
He's working through the anger. It's like you can't get to that point till you work through certain parts of it. Like he's got to work through the anger first. And once the anger
Yeah,
starts to subside, you get to the hurt. And once you get to the hurt, you can maybe get more, like you feel it, and you can get more clarity. And once you get more clarity, you can own your own stuff. You can become
exactly.
accountable for your own part. We all tend to want to go into this like I've been done wrong mode because that's our defense. As a kid, that's the first thing you go to because that's how your brain is developed at that point. And then some of us hang on to that, and some of us grow out of it depending on what's happening in our world. And he's still working through that.
You're bringing up such a good point, Julie, is that, like, again, it's a journey. It's a journey. Underneath anger is hurt. Underneath hurt is sadness. And underneath sadness is grief. He's obviously
Hmm.
there's a part of him that's very sad. He
And,
lost his wife. So
and
he lost that part of his
fear,
life.
and fear of
Fear.
abandonment, which sometimes
Yeah,
comes true. That fear comes from somewhere originally, and then sometimes we are abandoned, and then there's radical acceptance, and then we go down that rabbit. So many. That's right. The therapy is like Backrooms. There's all these different roads and all these different rooms with little weird little things that don't go anywhere, or things that lead to something else, or things that come around to the back of the stop sign.
that's so true. Oh my, I need to
Yeah.
start. I just need to start a practice. It's horror therapy. Actually,
You know what?
Actually, I found someone's Instagram account, Julie, and I sent them a message. I was like, "Hey, twin." Her name was like the Haunted Therapist, and she's a therapist that like, does therapy from like like I think some kind of like scary point of view. So I'll have to send you her information. Hi, Haunted Therapist.
Yeah, I want her to be my therapist.
I know, same, right? Same. I'm gonna have to start a practice. It's the Backrooms therapy. Oh wow, copyright. No one take that.
Mhm.
That's mine in your practice, Julie.
Mhm. Because we're moving up to Bellingham together and starting. By the way, Ryan, this is
Oh,
what
he's on board with this. He's on board with
he is.
this.
Okay, we got to take all the animals, take all the stray cats.
And we're gonna have cats. Yeah, we're
We're
gonna
gonna
have
have a
cats.
lot of freaking cats. We're
Yeah,
gonna have,
that's part
you
of
know how when you work in the vet, like many times there's a vet cat that just hangs out on the counter. In Vermont, my vet
Yes.
had a one-legged vet cat that lived there. We're gonna have therapy office cat.
Oh my
And so you
god.
can't. So if you want us to be your therapist, then you can't be allergic.
You gotta sign a waiver.
We just went down a tangent into a different back room.
We did. We
Cat
went to a
back.
different back room. But while we're in this back room, Julie,
Mm-hmm.
I think you told me what the next name of your next cat was going to be, and this has got to be our therapy cat. What's his name?
Wait, I forgot because I'm constantly naming all the cats that I'm going to get in my mind in the next month, and they're all kittens, by the
Wait,
way, or
there's
elderly
two
cats.
kids. One is Dexter related.
Maria La Huerta,
Yes, Maria Plata is going to be one of the kittens.
Maria La
And then
Huerta. I love saying that.
Yes, I love it when you say it. And the other kitten's going to be, this is a Gemstones.
Uncle, Uncle, Uncle Baby Billy.
Uncle Baby Billy. Yeah.
Uncle Baby Billy. Uncle Baby
Uncle
Billy
Baby
is
Billy.
Maria La Huerta. Say that 10
Yes.
times, Julita. For everybody out there, I know that this is a horror-related podcast, but I just want to give a big shout out to the Righteous Gemstones. Anything with John Goodman, we're good to go. And anything with Walton Goggins, that's your man right there. We're good to go.
I think
We're good to go.
I think the Righteous Gemstones officially cured my religious trauma.
Oh my God, that'll be part of the Backrooms therapy. Inc.
There, yeah, exactly. There's going to be a Righteous Gemstones room. Oh my God.
With his own cat named Uncle Billy, Bobby, Billy, Bobby. Uncle Baby Billy. Okay.
Uncle Baby Billy.
Wait, before we move on from Mary, though, because her journey.
Oh, yeah.
And like we've been talking about the beginning and the middle, but how it ends. Do you remember her face right before the very last scene? There was like some sort of. Do you remember the look on it, or did you recognize the look on her face? Maybe you didn't even recognize. Maybe it's just me.
I don't think I did. No.
So she was sitting with your guy who you like, the scientist guy, the async guy.
Oh, Mark Duplass. Yeah, Mark Duplass is the actor.
Yeah, and she knew that they were going to take her out because of her. Because this is very.
I can see myself frozen on the screen too.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna imitate you.
That's me. That's Mary's face.
Oh my God! Clearly,
that was not on purpose. Thanks to Julie, we are now recording again after a technology glitch, but we're back. And as Julie was saying, something about the Mary's face at the end of Backrooms was, I didn't, whatever that was, I didn't catch it.
Oh, she knows that all of this is confidential to the point that she will be murdered. They're going to murder her. They're going to take her out because in the same way that the CIA, all the deep CIA secrets and all the conspiracy theorists, some of that comes from somewhere, right? Not all of it, but. And so I think that as soon as she looked scared, and then all of a sudden she had this look on her, this sweet surrender look on her face. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they show her as one of the creatures. And what are those creatures? That begs the question, what the fuck are those things?
Yes.
And then when he takes this thing out and then he eats it, what does that mean? That part I haven't delved into in my head yet. I'm not prepared. So it's going to be, Leah, I want to hear your thoughts on that. But anyway, I just feel, just to finish up on her, I feel there was some sort of peace in her face at the end of it, even though it was a scary ending because she turned into one of those creatures. I'm curious what your listeners are thinking.
I think Mary found peace at the end too.
Yeah.
And I want to back up for just a second because I think I totally agree with you. I think this is maybe we're bringing a little bit of a Backrooms lore into it. Because from what I understand, this is what I understand, because again, I don't totally know. I mean, again, someone who's been following Backrooms lore forever might know better. Supposedly, the Backrooms were created by the government as a way to create more space because our population is getting larger. We need more storage. We need more places for people to live. And so it was created by some, I don't know, it was a government organization. And so, yeah, what you're saying makes sense that she's got to die because she knows too much.
Yeah.
So it kind of ends in this government hostile takeover of her, but she's already found peace at that point. Oh, I think the previous scene is super important where she goes through this with Clark, and I know we're going to maybe circle back to Clark a little bit more in a second, but there's this part where she's basically like, held captive by Clark, and she tells him, your problem is kind of
Oh,
going back to that thing is it's not that you drink, it's just you're a fucking whiny bass baby or whatever she says. And then kind of through this, it was never up to me to save you. I can't save you. And that was her moment. That was her moment of opening the window. Ooh, even this week, Julie, that I've had.
a challenging week, everybody.
I had a very challenging week. Oh, it's kind of coming full circle here.
Jamie, it was a challenging week, but you kicked it in the ass. We'll just say that and
Thanks,
move on.
thanks, Julie. Thanks,
But
Julie.
that's such an interesting, yes, that's brilliant because when he lets loose that, it's the I can't save you and everything that she's saying to Clark, and I'm guessing this is what you're saying, is also that little girl in her that couldn't save a mother
Yep,
and is, I can't, the window is open. I'm crawling out of this window. I
I'm
give up.
free.
The sweet, that surrender, that giving up. It begs the question of, we're like, don't quit or don't quit. All this like sort of very masculine. No, sometimes it's okay to quit. Sometimes it's preferred, just to quote Faith.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's preferred to quit.
Oh, Shaylee.
Sometimes it's in your best interest. Sometimes you gotta let go. Not that she's quitting, but
Sure. Well, sometimes closing the loop means getting off of the loop. Stop
yeah,
trying to close the loop. Stop trying to save your mom by saving everyone else,
yeah.
which deeply resonates with me. I mean,
Mm,
without talking a whole lot about stuff that happened with clients this week, it's not to be mysterious here. Like, I definitely have a little savior part in me that feels deeply invested in like helping people. And when I don't know what to do, I feel kind of helpless and worthless and scared. I saw this movie months ago. And then, I mean, and then again with you, but like, even when I saw that moment in the theater, I could just relate to it so much. And so when Mary had that moment of being freed of like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to save people. It's not my job to save people. Again, it's one
mhm,
of those things that we know as people who are just driven to help other people. It's something that you must really feel it and understand it. That
mhm,
was her letting go of her shadow. That was her letting go of that part of her, those burdens that she was carrying around. And so, yeah,
mm,
I totally agree with you. By the time she got in the movie, she was at peace. She had made peace with her existence, I guess. I don't know how to
yeah,
put that.
yeah. Or her fate, or whatever it is you want to call it, or her
Yeah.
demons, or her shadow, or
Yeah.
yeah,
I think Mary and I might share the same demon. I mean, I
mother.
got lots of demons.
Say mother. You're the
Yeah,
sisters.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There was
The
that scene with her mother when she was a kid, and her mother was in the wheelchair, and she was in the mental institution, and the mother was staring at her as being rolled away. I don't know if you remember my reaction to that. I was like, that's all about fucked up.
Oh, yes.
I don't know, being on the tummy at that point, that was maybe the scary. I mean, there were scary scenes in this, but that freaked me out. I don't know.
Oh, I think the first time I saw this movie, I was just so gobsmacked at the whole content and the depth of the movie and how much I was relating to it. And then when I watched it with you, I was scared. I was scared. And yeah,
All right,
scene
let's
of like
scared.
mom,
Let's have some popcorn. We ate a lot of popcorn and just got scared.
we got scared. Yes, it was fun. Oh, and my Swedish fish and gummy candies and ice cream. It was fun.
That was a good night.
It was a good time.
Clark. So we talked, I mean,
Can I ask?
obviously he's been woven into the conversation already. Sometimes we just can't get out of our own way, right? That finding these back rooms was, oh my God, he's finally getting out of his own way. In a weird, or at least because he was just in such a victim mode. I would love to know more about his past and his marriage and his wife. I was wondering, honestly, when he was going off in the first scene where he was doing the role play, I was, oh wow, she sounds horrible. And then wait a minute, we don't know her side of it. This is just his side of it. And then you start thinking about it. But he's just he's such stuck in this victim mode. And I think addiction lends itself to stuckness, obviously, and that's where it messes with our neural pathways. It's harder to make changes when you're drinking that much, and so I think there's the addiction issue in there, which was just kind of hinted at in a certain way, but I feel it was hinted at enough that it was an issue.
Definitely. I mean, I think the signs were there. I mean, he was talking about just stopping home from work for just a couple beers, and then we see him in so many moments where he's drinking from the flask, and so it's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's hinted at, but I think it's sort of yeah, that's made us think that he's got a drinking problem for
Yeah.
sure.
And then you rally for him. Ooh. Well, he's
Yeah.
also a proxy for the audience when he first gets into the back rooms and he's exploring. We're exploring with him, right?
I
And
love that part, honestly.
I was thinking the last time I saw it, which was this morning, I don't know if I'd be that brave to just wander around. The fact that he just literally just went through a wall, I'd be I'm just sitting there on the floor by that opening for an hour going, what is happening right now?
I would be like, am I going to get radiation poisoning? I loved him exploring the back rooms because I feel like, at least from one thing I thought of was it breaks a lot of horror tropes. Because one of the horror tropes is we're just going to mindlessly walk into the back rooms and we're going to get completely lost and not going to be able to get out. But then what he does is he starts kind of doing these experiments. He brings furniture out. He takes the rope. He starts tracing out the door. He gets his coworkers to come in with a camera. And so that part I really enjoyed because I was thinking, oh, he's smart. He's brave and he's smart.
Yeah, and you can see him waking up out of his numbness, out of his numb
Yes.
slumber, because it's taken him awake. Whereas I got to find out what's going on. I have purpose now. He didn't have any purpose before. Oh, I have purpose now.
And the fact that he's an architect by, I guess, training. I know this is so fascinating for him to explore this architectural anomaly. It's so interesting.
Wow.
Can I go back for just a second? Because this is probably one of the most fascinating scenes to me, and I just cannot wait. Clark comes running into Mary's office with the drawing of the back rooms, and he's like, I found this thing in my office. It's this wall. He's trying to explain to her the back rooms, and she's just, slow down. I need to understand what you're telling me. And then he's, okay, hang on. Let me, first of all, how can you, I forget, how can you 95, whatever the numbers are that he uses,
50,
but basically
150, I think it was.
something that, yeah, basically commit someone without their consent, basically. It's just if I think that you're gravely disabled or if you're going to threaten yourself or someone else. So he's, okay, cool. He's, okay, this doesn't fit any of this. So then I can tell you what I'm going to tell you. So I know he's obviously aware that what he's going to say is going to sound wacky. And I don't know, like what I interpreted from her is she's sort of staying curious, but not just radically believing him, which kind of makes sense to me. But he takes offense to that. He was, I want to come back with evidence and prove it. And so I guess I was super curious of what do you think you would do in that situation?
Which part of it? The part where he walks out or the part where he just brings it up in the first place? Or
I guess let's talk about all of it. Let's talk about all of it because then a couple days later, he leaves her a voicemail and he leaves her that creepy voicemail of like, I'm never coming back or something like that, which I'm assuming maybe she heard that as maybe some sort of veiled, I don't know, safety.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then she goes and looks for him at his place of business. Mm-hmm. So what would you do? I'm so curious.
What would I do?
Across that whole spectrum of situations. I don't know. I have a feeling of what I think I might do and what I would actually do is kind of.
So yeah, what I would probably do is, I would probably listen to him. I would probably be, so this is what you're seeing. So you have this experience where I would probably not validate it, but mirror it back to him. So at least he knows that I'm hearing him.
Yeah.
And I would probably say, I have to think about this. I would probably be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest. And I don't remember, what is it? Can you remind me what she says that makes him run out?
She says, I don't know. And it's interesting. And it's interesting because I think that here's what I think. You're the CBT girl, Julie. So I don't know, but it sounds to me she's going into CBT a little bit of, I think gentle CBT. She asks a question, why don't you think anybody else has ever found this? Is what she asks.
Oh.
Isn't that kind of a CBT thing of why has anybody else?
That's doubting him. I don't know if I would say that.
Okay.
I don't know if I would say that.
There's my projection about CBT.
Yeah, you and CBT are not on the same page right now. I think
clearly.
Yeah. You see CBT as confrontation. I don't see CBT as confrontation at all. I see it as training, as psychoeducation about how we have more control over our thoughts once we step back and look at them and observe them for a while. We can choose, do we want to keep thinking this or do we want to make another choice? And there's psychoeducation involved. I remember talking to you in school before you graduated, you felt this. I'm still right about CBT. And I felt the same way in school until I didn't really kind of get it until I started using it, studying it on a deeper. School, they just teach you the very high level of everything, and then you got to do your own work. So you went to the IFS part. No pun intended. You went to the IFS. That's where you were drawn to. I'm also drawn to IFS. CBT is more structured, and it's more training your client rather than exploring your past and your parts and stuff which I think they're both equally valuable. I think together they would be amazing.
It's so interesting because clearly I have my thoughts and biases about CBT, but then my experience of CBT with you was completely different. Well, me and Julie did a little. Let's kind of demonstrate the way we work with people on each other, kind of thing.
And my experience of IFF with you is completely different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, seriously. And so it was not. I just have this idea of CBT being confrontational, and so clearly I would say she's doing CBT on him and she's doubting him.
Yeah, it's almost like confrontation equals CBT, but that's not how it is. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's basically what she says.
That feels. Because I see what you're saying, where when you're the therapist in that situation, you don't want to push the client away, but you also don't want to feed into any kind of delusions they have, or you don't want to be fake. You want to model honesty, and because this person is going to have to deal with any kind of disagreement or backlash or whatever if they're going to go tell anybody that. I tend to lean more towards the validating that you believe you had this experience. Let's dive into it. And then as the person feels safer discussing it, then kind of go into, I'm also really woo-woo. So honestly, in my head, I'm one of those, ain't it possible? Did something literally, if I had a client literally, pretend it's not a movie, pretend it's real life. Somebody said that, I would literally start researching shit. Not their exception, but who knows? With my belief, and I'm pretty woo-woo, and I have a lot of woo-woo clients too that I think they're surprised that they're like, good, I can be woo-woo around you. Yeah, but I mean, so
dude, same. Yeah. I love you so much, Julie. I have so many Juliisms. Sometimes I should on myself, as I shouldn't be so open-minded. But so first of all, let me just come back to that for a second. I love the fact that you said that I would be honest. Yes, we believe that this is what they're experiencing is true for them no matter what. That's whatever's happening for them, it's true for them no matter what. But then I love what you're saying about I would just be honest with them and tell them I need to think about it or let me sit with it. Because I think what I'm learning, Julie, is that not only our clients, but people, especially people who have experienced trauma, are bullshit detectors. And so for her to start going into this, she put on her therapist part and she was, why hasn't anybody else found this? He was immediately invalidated. And so I just love that. And I want to start doing more of that, just being really honest.
And I think about some of the experiences my personal spiritual experiences that I've had with things that most people would be like, okay, Julie. I don't talk about that stuff. I talk about it with very, very few people because of the same reason. I've felt where he may have been, obviously, it's Backrooms. I don't really know how he would be feeling at that point because what you would do if you just suddenly went through a wall and then a freaking seagull come out? Because I also want to know what those seagulls are about. The seagulls.
Yes. Oh my God, the seagulls.
The seagulls.
I think they must have flown in from another entry or something. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like another entry to a back room or something. But I don't know. here's what I would think I would do. Because again, exactly what you said, I tend to radically believe people and also, but I love doing experiential therapy. Let's go. I would be like, let's go. All right, that's cool. Let's go.
You
So,
would. I remember you saying when you were here, because then you end up when this ended up as in the end, stuck in the
yeah,
bathroom, being chased by
exactly.
giant weird pirate versions of your class.
Exactly. Yes.
And
But
this
then
is why there's boundaries. This is why you don't go forward.
this is how I'm going to die, everybody, doing some sort of experiential therapy one day. But
Inside
yeah,
the back room.
yeah, I have a lot of my clients sign walk and talk forms, which basically means that we can leave the office and go out in public and do therapy, which basically just says that people may see us and it's not going to be as private. And just to kind of cover that base, that if there's an opportunity, we'll leave and go do something to go out in public and do almost like exposure therapy kind of thing. Oh man, I would be chomping at the bit. Like, cool, let's go.
You
Let's go
totally
see.
would.
Let's make
You
it therapy.
totally would. You're like, let's have
And,
a walk. Go to the bathroom.
and then I would be dead. So
I would not be able to do that. I am not an experience. I mean, I would definitely do exposure therapy with clients, but I can't just go wander around a park with a client and talk. I can barely do that with friends. A bird. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, I can't stay focused. So the idea
yeah,
of going into the back rooms with a client
yeah.
is, I don't know. Yeah. I admire you
Well,
for being able to do that. I know a lot of people who are doing that from school and stuff to do the walk and talks and stuff.
this is one of those things where this is what I would think I would do, but who knows? I mean, this is a theoretical situation, but honestly, I hope that this is what I would do. I just think it sounds really fun and affirming.
Wait, what is what you would do? Go in the back room?
Yeah.
That's not what you said when you were here. I'm just busting on you. Totally
No, no, it's true. It's true. Boundaries are important. Okay,
well,
once we
right?
found the back room.
But that's so hard, isn't it? And this also leads to the conversation that I don't want to get too far off topic, but I love my clients. I want to go have brunch with my clients. I want to go hiking with my clients. I love my clients, and it's really, if I went in those back rooms with my clients, I couldn't hide certain parts of myself that I feel would not be beneficial to their therapy.
I think it's cool for the audience to know your therapist loves you. I mean, I'm guessing your therapist loves you. Your therapist is thinking about you.
Oh, it's so annoying. We can't stop thinking about you guys. Just so y'all know, I woke up thinking I can't stop thinking about my clients.
What would you do if a client left you a weird voice message like that and was like, I went into the back rooms and I'm never coming back or something? I guess for us, it would look like a coded message of
Self-harm.
self harm. Yeah.
I mean, without thinking too much, the first thing you do is get supervision, right? That's number one.
Honestly, that's where I go. So I'm like, I don't know.
If I didn't have a supervisor available, I would probably call back and just do a quick check-in. If they answered, I'd just do an assessment, a self-harm suicide assessment. Maybe if they didn't and I had to leave a message, I would be, okay, I need you to call me back because it is my duty to report it. So I don't know, Jamie. You
And
have
no,
so much
I
more
know.
experience. I know you're laughing because you're like,
Ethical dilemmas put me in a tizzy. And I've seen this talked about on some forums online of people saying, oh, my therapist would come after me in the back rooms. And I'm like,
really?
I don't.
Not. Do they expect them to come after?
That's yeah. It seems there's some. That's what I'm trying to say without saying. It seems like there's some expectation. Yeah. No, but it's true because
boundaries, right?
Mary does go into the back rooms after Clark, but I don't know. I just think that like I wanted maybe people to know that therapists are humans too. We have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
We have to have boundaries. And it's hard to not know what's going on with y'all outside of session, and that is something that we just have to deal with sometimes. And so I don't know. Unless they distinctly say, I'm going to do this, I don't know. There's really, we have to sit with that discomfort of uncertainty sometimes.
And I just there's a difference between Mary going to check up on him in his store versus Mary going into the back rooms, because I think what you're really talking about is Mary going to check up on him in his store.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and then the backroom things is kind of, that's sort of, what the fuck is this? That's almost curiosity, fear, wonder. If I came across that, I couldn't just walk away.
In reality, what that would look like for us is to go check up on somebody where at their house. We're
Yeah.
gonna walk up, we're gonna go to their house. That would actually say that's
Yeah.
invasive. No,
Yeah. No, that I would no, I would never do
no.
that. Never
I
do
would say
that.
that's
That's a boundary
no.
crossing. That's a
That'd be boundary crossing.
ethical. I think that's ethical too, without contacting.
Yeah, exactly. That would be unethical because you would if you weren't invited or if it wasn't an experiential, predetermined thing. Yeah. So I got a little bit
Yeah.
discouraged seeing some of that discourse online of like, my therapist would come for me. And I'm, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if your therapist should.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I think it's complicated too because if I'm being really honest, and it was some situation where my client was, I'm here, blah, 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 and I had the capacity, I might go check up on somebody somewhere. When they told me where I don't know. I don't know. But I mean,
I
it's,
don't think I
we're
would
talking
do
about,
that. It's so
yeah,
interesting.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't think I
hard.
would do that.
Supervision, though. I always go back to supervision because I don't
I
trust
mean,
myself.
that's the answer to it all. I'll call you too.
I know, like, Julie, I don't trust myself.
Come with me. We'll go on a little journey's adventure in the back room.
Your therapists are human. Just so y'all know, we're being very honest here. Your therapists are human. We're not superhumans with all the answers.
And I also just want to share, my hair just went down a little bit, which is extremely significant for the movie. When he sits in the chair in the chair break, and then he finds the chair lopsided in the back room. This is a little fun fact.
Oh,
But my
I
chair
gotta
just
give
went
that out. That's so bizarre. Are you sinking into are you podcasting from a backrooms, Julie? Are you about to sink into a backrooms?
I am. Was I
I gotta
telling you guys?
I gotta give a shout out to Horror Weekly podcast because he covered this podcast. He covered this movie, and one of the things that he said that I thought was really true was how fucking sad that commercial was. I mean, it was pretty funny too, but how really sad that commercial was for he's just kind of freaked of desperation.
After just seeing him in the therapy session.
Yeah.
But it also made me think of the 90s and how
That's true too.
it was such a 90s movie. It really nailed the 90s-ness, the early 90s-ness of it. Because it was 1990, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, Julie, I didn't catch on to that until I don't know at what point I caught on to that, which is Jamie. They were watching VHSs and yeah, totally the aesthetic of the clothes and stuff. But I didn't catch on to that at first because there's some movies that are just kind of timeless. I think about It Follows where you don't really know when it's taking place. And I thought the whole just aesthetic of the movie was supposed to also just kind of be liminal. But once I realized it was the 90s, I love it even more because this is cool.
It's so weird to me that the 90s is a period piece now.
Seriously, right? Oh, and the fashions are coming back. I'm like, oh my God.
It's so weird.
It's
weird. College in the 90s.
Oh man.
Another quote I wrote down, which was from her Window Within tape that he was listening to when he was in the car, was, "Your consciousness is a room full of memories that is constantly evolving." So, again, I'm going off on another direction, but is that the Backrooms? Because don't they talk about that in a second towards the end? These are memories. Because remember, they go through her thing, her memory when she was a kid, and then they go down to another layer, and there's less things, and then there's less things, and then there's less things. So it's almost like going back to the beginning of us talking today and talking about the science government aspect of it and then the metaphysically dimensionally aspect of it, and combining the two, is somehow they found this portal to people's memories, and they're wandering around in people's memories, but they're getting attacked by people's shadow sides, because that pirate was a shadow side of Clark, right?
Oh, I interpreted it, yeah.
Yeah. So your consciousness is a room full of memories that is constantly evolving, and that's when you go down a layer, they're changing. When he had her tied up at the table, And he was like, these are our memories. This is what happens. That's why their faces weren't clear, because you start to lose your memories and stuff. So that whole aspect of it to me is fascinating, because what is memory and what is made up? What is
Yeah.
memory versus what is just, because when we have memories, say we have a memory from when we're 5 years old, our brain has only developed so much. So we take it in energetically on a different level. And then as we grow, our brain makes memories from the feeling. It's just fascinating to me. I think that the movie just presents some brilliant metaphors.
I think that they absolutely nailed it. And I did not catch that until the second watch with you. And I think you pointed it out and you were like, oh, wow. Yeah, our minds and memories being evolving. And then, yeah, how that directly ties into that scene you're talking about with them, with the two people with the eyes and the face that was blurry. Because that's how, yeah, the way again, kind of going back to those neural pathways, the way our brain remembers things. First of all, the more time goes on, or even short time, the way our brain encodes information is not necessarily based in reality, because it's going to be filtered through trauma. It's going to be filtered through experiences. You might remember, maybe at that point, Clark was remembering his wife being a total utter bitch or fucking whatever. And so he's going to remember her being this just immovable object. Maybe that woman in that room with them was a representation of his wife that he remembered. I also work in mitigation for the criminal justice system. Eyewitness testimonies are not always credible when it comes to describing people, because you're scared, but you don't really remember, and so it's all blurry in your mind. And so I think about the way those people looked, is they were all fucked up, because your brain doesn't really encode that, because there's a layer of fear or there's a layer of whatever.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you remember. I mean, the opposite's true too. Is you might remember something through a rose-colored lens.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't that great. The mind is a fucking funny thing. I think you said was so brilliant.
And then
At
if you
showing that.
dissociate, what happens? When if you start to remember something when you're 20 years later, what are you remembering? What are you remembering? Really interesting.
Yeah. Go back to your question about the end, about what was that at the end, those creatures, or what was Mary. I think that's how I interpret it, is there's some memory manifestation of people that are just not complete, or they're filtered through some memory lens.
So are you saying that wasn't really Mary, that was just someone's memory of Mary? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. So. Or it was the Backrooms creation of Mary. And if you think the back room is your mind, and it was the mind's interpretation of Mary.
But whose mind is the question?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because the things that Clark was seeing was all based off, when he was first started going through the back rooms, he was seeing the banners from his place hanging down in the hallway. He was seeing his furniture all packed up in one. So those were his memories. And then the further you go into the back rooms, are you going into somebody else's memories? Or if the government people, at the beginning, when the guy gets, I'm assuming, killed by whatever was facing him in the very first scene, whose memories were he in? Are we going into people's memories?
That's a good question.
Backrooms is.
Because now we're talking about, I think what you're speaking to is maybe like collective unconscious or collective memory. Because it's almost mine, yours, and then ours. Because, it's interesting, because like Clark's first trek through there's a lot of furniture, which would make sense because his life is furniture. He owns his furniture store.
Yeah.
And then that guy, his little coworker guy, goes deeper into his own back room, and he finds his T-shirt. He finds his laundry pile.
That was sad.
That was really sad. But yeah, it's almost, you have the ability in the back rooms to go through your own mind, but then there's this like collective experience that you can also. It's so complex.
Oh, fascinating. We have a visitor.
Hi, Zener.
Yep. Say hi.
Hey, Zener Beaner. It's your bestie.
Hi. This is a fun conversation for sure.
I love this.
That's why I love this shit. This is why when people think horror movies are just scary, but there's so many layers to good horror. There's so many layers to good horror, right?
I've seen over 26 horror movies this year so far. Definitely all the major ones, I think. And this is my number one horror movie of the year.
This is A24's number one.
Oh, and my number one. This is A24's number one highest grossing film of all time. And y'all know A24 is
Yeah.
the same studio that brought you Hereditary, Eddington last year. This is their biggest film yet, which is crazy considering, again, 20-year-old. This is an amazing, and it's horror. Horror's
Mhm.
back, y'all. Now that ever
Oh my
left.
God.
But it's also my favorite horror movie of the year, of everything that's come out so far.
We're August. Today's August 1st, so we're in the second half of the year now. What else is coming
Yes.
out this year? Do we know what else is coming out that is going to be in the running here for you?
There's a couple movies that people are anticipating. There's a new Resident Evil movie coming out by Zach Kreger. So he's the one that did Weapons last year. I think you really liked Weapons.
Well, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I saw an interview of Mike Flanagan and how he's doing Carrie as a series.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And he was talking about how he talked to Stephen King and Stephen King would go for it. I'm so excited for that.
Me
I'm so
too.
excited. I hope that SpaceX can make some sort of like a cameo in there.
That's one that a lot of people are anticipating. The Zach Kreger Resident Evil movie, and then Robert Eggers, who did Nosferatu, who did The Witch. Yeah, he's doing. There's one coming out in December called Werewolf. He's doing a werewolf movie.
That's right. The Newkirks were going to do their werewolf. Yeah. The Newkirks
Yeah.
was Werewolf Month last week, and Patreon. Any Newkirk Museum members? Hi.
Yes. Those are the two really highly anticipated ones off the top of my head. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to be Backrooms, especially with the therapy, trauma, just
So
deep,
unique. There's
so
no
unique.
cookie cutter aspect. There's no formula to this movie. That's what I love about it. People have been talking because this is neck and neck with Obsession is also really big this summer, and I liked Obsession, but everything comes down to Supernatural for me. And I see a lot of the horror movies I see. Oh, they did that on Supernatural. Oh, they did that on Supernatural. Oh, that was episode such and such of. So
Man, I've got to watch Supernatural.
I'll
They just,
I'll throw you
but
an episode or two here and there. I know it's
yeah,
15 years of.
and we're gonna talk about it. If the audience is listening, y'all have favorite episodes of Supernatural, let me know. At some point we'll
Yeah.
get around to doing a pod about it.
Yeah.
I think I just want to talk about one more thing about Clark because I just do think this hit me again. This is just feels really synced for this week I've had this moment between Clark and Mary when they're, I guess, right before when they're in the back rooms or they're at this kitchen table. Mary's tied up and Mary's, "You're just a whiny bitch and I can't save you." Oh, he's like, "Well, I don't want to be saved. I'm comfortable. I'm perfectly comfortable here. I don't want to change."
Thank you for
And
bringing
she's
that
like, "Well,
up.
then don't. Well, then don't change." And then
We're bringing up rabbit hole lead part
let's
two.
go, baby. Let's go down the rabbit hole. And then, of course, his pirate, that part of him that's sort of haunting him comes in. He's like, "She says we don't have to change," which might be the wrong takeaway. I don't know. We can talk about this. I don't know. Well, wrong is maybe too strong a word, but then he gets eaten by that part of him. So,
Right. He got eaten by his, I keep saying shadow self. There's so many
yeah.
different things to say about that whole part. I'm feeling different conflicting things, which
Do
is
it. Let's
really
do
us.
it.
That's what humans are these conflicting. How do we find peace between all our conflicting feelings? How do we
Let's
find
do
that?
it. Let's put the parts up, Julie. Let's talk about the parts. What parts are coming up for you?
Oh, for me, it's not. It's funny. I don't see it as parts. I just see it as two sides of the same coin. Maybe. Yeah. No, I don't think that's good.
That's okay.
I'm sitting like my dad all of a sudden. One thing that comes to mind is I'm going through a phase in my life where I'm done trying so hard. I feel like I've spent my entire life just in that self-awareness,
Actualization
and all this stuff, right, over the years. And I'm at this point right now where I'm kind of over it. I kind of want to just integrate all that stuff and the work I feel I need to do in my life right now is to just let myself be with all my flaws That doesn't mean go around being mean to people. That doesn't mean, but integrate the shadow side.
Yeah.
Integrate all that stuff. Integrate everything I've learned. Where I'm thinking, you're how much older am I than you? I'm in a different stage in my life. Mid 50s is different than late 30s, right? And you're in a place in your life where you're like, no, I'm doing the work here, and that's what you should be doing if you're called to it. And even if you're not called to it, many people could benefit from it. You know what I mean? Which is where you're
Yeah.
coming from. Oh, there we go. That part of me is, well, you know what? It's he's autonomy. It's his life. He can make his choices. She said, then do whatever the fuck you want to do. But it's a sit or get off the pot thing, right?
Yeah.
Then you got to stop playing the victim. If you're gonna be exactly where you are, stop playing the victim, right? And
Yeah.
then on the other side of it, I'm thinking he's hiding away in the back room because it's safe. Just he's hiding in his bottle of liquor because it's safer. He doesn't have to feel the feeling. So that's the other side of it. Where, well, is he just dissociating? Is he in the middle of a dissociation right now?
Yeah.
Which I think is more where maybe you're looking at it, Bro. What are your thoughts?
It made so much sense because even immediately when I said, I don't want to change, as soon as I said, maybe that wasn't the right takeaway, as soon as I said that, I felt judgment for saying that because I was like, okay, let's break that down. Like you're saying, yeah, people have choice, they have autonomy. Not changing is a choice, and that's okay.
Right. And we have to look at our reactions. If I have a client that decides that they don't want to change and they don't want to do therapy anymore, then I feel, or let's take it away from a sibling, say, or a parent, or a somebody even on a deeper level in your life. That's where the radical acceptance, letting go comes in, and that's where she had her letting go scene. Her letting go. I'm not responsible for other people anymore, right?
But then on the flip side, it's if you look at what that means for him, if not changing for him, that means he stays in a place of victim, stays dissociating and drinking. And yeah, that's a choice. But then, yeah, I'm even feeling uncomfortable with that as I say it out loud, because from a therapist point of view, or as a societal point of view, or maybe people that love him, if he even has anybody that loves him, no one wants to see somebody like that. But if that's how he wants to live his life, that's a choice.
That's their work to deal with their grief of not having him in their life the way they want them in their life.
You said it's either you can choose to radically accept him, this is how he is, or you can grieve the loss of the person that you know that they could be.
Mm-hmm.
And that really sucks for the people that we love in our life. Sometimes that's where it lands you. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. And so, yeah, he chooses to stay where he's at, whereas Mary chooses to let go of her need to change people. I guess I had this two different experiences. Someone's leaning into their change, and someone's not. And someone gets eaten by their shadow part, and someone doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe is the movie trying to teach us a lesson about that, or is that me projecting?
Right? The shadow part eating him. That was the saddest thing because he thought he was buddies with it.
I thought it was his buddy.
We got this together. You're my buddy. And then, like, I just felt that was really sad. I just felt bad for him. I was kind of hoping. But this is the work that I have to do to let it go. I have to grieve the loss of the character that I wanted to live.
What do you think that shadow... So, as I'm saying that out loud, kind of curious to workshop this. So the shadow part kind of appears as that pirate, or as what did the guy call it?
Are you a pirate or a sultan?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, pirate or a sultan. And he makes this commercial. Obviously, he's not getting business. He tells them to open the store. The store was already open. There was no customer. We never see any customers in there.
Right.
And so that's how this part of him appears to him. And he's like giant. It's big. Oh, I think that maybe probably is relevant. This part of him is big and overpowering and overwhelming him. What do you make of that? What do you think about when I think about a part? It's got an attachment need. It's trying to accomplish something on your behalf, but it's maladaptive. What do you make of that? What do you make of that part of him?
The first thing that's popping in my head is that part didn't get enough sunlight, attention. It was stuck in the back rooms with no windows to the outside. So it kind of it kind of grew into this monstery kind of thing. Whereas if he gave it some attention, he nurtured it a little bit, maybe it wouldn't. That's just my initial reaction that popped in my head. We're in the backrooms, we're in the shadow, right? It's like, that's why we go in the shadow, is to bring things out in the light, to nurture and accept and honor. And he didn't do that, so it ate him up when it ate him up. What are your thoughts?
I was just tossing it out there to see what you had to say, to see what stuck. But I think
Noodle at the wall.
Noodle at the wall, and it stuck, Jules. I think you're exactly right. I think that there was a major piece of himself that he wasn't nurturing, that he was dissociating from. He was drinking, he was isolating, he was in the store all by himself, and he was pushing people away.
Yeah,
It was kind of a jerk.
It's interesting that when he made the choice and got the permission from Mary to just not change, that's when he got eaten. So I wonder if the shadow side was, okay, well, then I'm taking over. I'm eating you up. I'm taking over. If you're not going to change,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna take over completely.
Because it didn't trust him anymore. Because if you're not going to change, that means I'm still going to stay lonely and isolated and abandoned, and so I can't trust you anymore.
Wait, say that again. So you're not going to change. So me, giant pirate monster.
I can't trust you anymore, because if you're not going to nurture me and take care of me,
I don't feel the pirate monster in him, Shadow Self, trusted him to begin with, which is why he turned into that's why he grew into this. I don't know. I have to think about that. Fine, if you're not going to try and change anymore and bring some light into this situation, then I'm not, then you're gone. Then I'm going to eat you because I'm hungry.
it's true. I mean, from a parts work perspective, I mean, that's why parts are formed, is because they don't trust us and they're trying to kind of go off on their own and accomplish something.
Right? What do we have? The firefighters, the protectors, the
managers.
And
then you got the exiles, are kind of the lonely parts underneath.
This was the exile. Do you think he was an exile?
The metaphor would make sense for an exile, and to be lonely and left alone, needing nurturing. That would make sense as an exile.
But not getting any of it.
Yeah.
And isn't this what happens with, I mean, if you look at, I don't have any direct proof of this, but I'm sure if anybody look, because I'm obsessed with serial killers and documentaries and stuff, that their exiles take over and become monsters. And literally Jeffrey Dahmer ate people.
Oh my God, Julie, that's right. Talk about metaphors. Oh shit, that's crazy. But it's true. It's those younger parts of them that didn't get their needs met, so they're re-perpetrating that violence on other people because that's all they knew how to do. Oh,
yeah,
you're so smart.
They're pissed off. They're pissed off little 2-year-olds.
Oh my God, this is so good. I love it.
That's what's so fun about these conversations, right? It's fun about your podcast in general, is listening to people's takes on things and make you think and like that.
Yeah. I love, sometimes I'll be listening to podcasts at home too, and I'll be like, no, or yes. And so I would love to, if you were doing that at home, if you were like, no, y'all are missing this, or yes, I totally agree.
Please put something in the comments. Please put something in the comments if you want to say something, because I would love to hear what people's thoughts are. If you feel called. And I'm not saying that because I want the more likes you get or the more comments. Fuck all that shit. I just want to hear what people are thinking about what we're saying.
I love that too. I always say that in my podcast. I don't monetize this podcast. I don't get anything. I get reviews or whatever.
Community curiosity and interaction. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. I love that part of this. I know we're getting so close to time.
I know. I gotta go meet my friend at the beach.
Oh, is there anything burning that you have? Is there anything burning thoughts that you have?
No, I think I got it all out. This is just really fun. This is really fun. One thing I am curious about, just because we are talking about leaving comments, I am really curious about, this is totally not related to Backrooms. This is about Supernatural. I have this part of me that geeks out on stupid shit. And no, not stupid shit, but I know that's self-deprecating. But there's this teenage part of me that's just so into Supernatural and the lore and the community. And I love all my fellow fans out there. I'm wondering who is out there. If you are out there and you do want to hear an episode of Supernatural, I'm sure to tell me. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know how big the fandom is, but I'm really curious because this is a horror genre we're in here. So is Supernatural construed as just a silly show by people, or is it construed as, am I just a geek? I'm really curious how Supernatural fits into horror fans, of hardcore horror fans, or is it silliness?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't have any kind of pulse on that, but
Oh, yeah.
I will maybe I'll ask the Friends of Horror Weekly group their thoughts on this.
Yeah.
You'll be like, you're honorary member. And I'm like, my honorary member Julie would like to know this.
Polling. Jamie and I like to do polling. We'll come up with a
Yes.
weird question. I'll be like, come on, let's poll everybody. Let's do some polling. That's really fun.
It is. It's
What is
fun.
your definition of Yankee? But other than that, with Backrooms, I mean, now I'm going to have a million things to think about after talking about this. So
I know.
really
It's
fun.
like this blows my mind. Watching it blows my mind. Talking about it blows my mind.
I have another question. Oh shoot, we don't have that much time. If it was your backroom, what do you think your backroom monster would be?
Dude, I think this is a perfect ending because to land the plane, bring the show to a close is what demons did you exercise through this discussion, through watching the
Yeah,
movie, through the
yeah.
back rooms. Fuck, man. And through this week that I've had, I think my demon, my shadow in the back room is fucking the savior part of me that needs to fucking
Mm.
save people. I am working so hard on exercising this demon, this burden in me that I need to fucking save people. Because like Mary said, I can't save you.
Can I offer something up about that?
Please.
Maybe you can reframe that because you're making the savior person in you a bad person, 100%
Oh, yeah.
black and white bad. But what if you ask the question, how do I turn this, what feels like a burden, into a superpower? And how we do that, I believe, is by empowering ourselves to take control of it. So it's, how do I use that power myself and the people around me instead of control me?
Yes.
That savior part, sometimes the savior part needs to be reined in, but it's not bad. You just got to train at boundaries.
Absolutely. It's what makes me a good therapist, Jules. It's what makes me a good therapist, a good wife, a good for whatever. It is the best part of me, but the shadow part of it is that it does get completely overwhelmed with trying to
Yeah.
save people, and it can't do that. I'm just kind of taking away this big theme of boundaries, and yeah, like boundaries of within ourselves.
It's okay to want people to be happy and be the best they can be, but maybe also your version of saving someone isn't what they need. It's just from your perspective and your biases
Ding ding
and
ding.
stuff, right?
Ding ding ding. Yes, that is
Yeah.
a big takeaway is it's important to make sure that people want to be saved. What part of them wants help is
Right.
the more succinct way to put it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I have to apply that to myself too. And I think anybody that's in this field or any kind of helping field has to ask themselves these questions because that's generally why a lot of us are drawn to this field because we're empaths and compassionate people and we want people to be cool. We want everyone
People
to
be
be
happy.
cool.
Yeah, we want people to be happy. We want people to not feel burdened by
Yeah.
these shadow pirate these sultans that they got
Yeah.
hiding out in the background.
Right. But that's part of each one of us has our own little journeys of what we need to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
what did I exercise is going to be your next question, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
The first thing that comes to mind is from the beginning of the session when we were talking about how I forget the guy's name, but the director is 20 years old and how I got to check myself. I've exercised a little bit of that ageism towards people. You hear ageism is usually people are ageist against elderly people, but I'm the opposite. I'm ageist against, what is it? Alpha and Gen Z. I also am learning that I feel like they might save the world once everyone's brain is fully developed.
To quote your friend Anne Marie, the
Yes.
Gen Z, the Gen
Yeah.
Alphas, the Gen Z.
Yes. Which is, I have so much I want to say that it's so hard to cut the cord.
I
I could
know. Oh my
literally do
god.
this for 5 more hours, but
Seriously,
anyway.
same. But I gotta say, I think we did a pretty damn good job of hitting the deepest part. Well, I don't know how to say that, but we could have gone in multiple more back rooms.
I
But I think
know.
we did a really good job. And thank you so
Yay.
much, Julie. You're an amazing guest. I hope you have the most amazing day today. You're going to see Teresita?
I'm going to see Teresita at the beach. It's a
Oh,
beautiful
have
day
the best
here.
time.
I think it was
There's
supposed
beaches
to.
in Rhode Island, people from the South.
I was telling somebody about that, and they were just laughing. They were like, they was playing both you and Saley. So our friend Saley is from Florida, and Jamie, of course, is from Alabama, now lives in New Orleans. And when she came here, she asked Saley, did you know there were beaches in Rhode Island? Like, it's coastal. There's a lot of coast. I love that.
That's funny. Well, you have fun. I'll let you go. I know I've already done a shitty job of boundaries today. I went over 6 minutes.
No, I gave you permission. All right. I will see you.